I'm with Educate Girls, and today I wanted to tell you the story of Timmy, who's 10 years old, and she's a girl from Pali, Rajasthan. Pali is one of India's gender gap districts. This is the educational gender gap. And so she's from a tiny, tiny village, and Timmy does not go to school. So Timmy's actually never, when we met her, she had never been inside of a school. She was one of the girls who's described as never enrolled. So Timmy wakes up very early in the morning because she has huge tasks to do. She cleans the house, she cleans the dishes. And then once all the breakfast and everything is done, she takes the goats and she takes them out grazing. And that's one of her main jobs. And that's where in the afternoon she sits and she has her lunch all by herself. And the problem in the districts where Timmy is that the equation that, and this is, I think, across India, and a lot of problems around gender are centered on that. In this picture, the goat is an asset, and Timmy is the liability. And that's where a lot of problems around gender really stem from, is the way we see that particular accounting equation. Your livestock, your goats become assets, and your girls become liabilities. Whether it is your preference for the son, whether it is, and therefore it is the value that we attach to this child. Timmy comes back home, and then Timmy helps to cook the food. And it's not just that. Timmy is also married. So her parents are simply waiting that when she hits puberty, that's when she will be transferred to her husband's home. Until then, she lives with her parents. And this is her day, this is her entire life. And she goes to bed, one of the last people to go to bed after the house is tidied up and clean. And Timmy's not alone. 46% of girls in India, and around 68% of the girls in Rajasthan are married before the legal age. And 15% are married, just like Timmy, below the age of 10. So it's not simply a story, this is exactly what happens. And especially the gender gap districts where we work, it's almost the norm. It's not the exception. But for Timmy, things were about to change. So one day, Malika, and I have to tell you a little bit about Malika as well. Malika was a child bride herself. She's now in her 20s. But she was lucky enough that she had a husband who believed that she should finish her schooling and get educated. And Malika actually joined us and became a part of our Team Balika, our champions for girls' education. So these were young people who had gone through the entire child marriage piece themselves and decided that when they grew up, they didn't want to see the same happening. So Malika actually, what she did was she came knocking one day to Timmy's house. Because she had heard from people around that there was a girl child here who was not going to school. So Malika comes to Timmy's house and talks to her mother. Her mother says basically, come back. When her father's here, I'm not the one to make a decision. And Malika goes back and keeps going back to try and convince them. And finally she meets the father, and the father says, "Hamare yahan ladkiyon ko nahi bhejte hain, aap kahin aur jaiye." And she comes back, and this is like over a period of weeks on end that she keeps coming back, and she even speaks to Timmy and she says, "Do you want to go to school? Am I just sort of banging my head against your door for nothing, or is this something that you want for yourself?" And Timmy obviously says, "Yes, I do want to go to school." Finally, Malika organizes a village meeting, which is where Timmy's parents, the headmaster, the village leaders, everybody comes to this particular meeting. And there are other girls like Timmy who are not going to school from the same village. And at this meeting, an Educate Girls staff, you see Vijay Lakshmi sitting right there, they sort of really talk about the importance of girls' education, why Timmy should be in school, and they negotiate parent by parent by parent to get these girls back into the school system. Timmy today is in school, and she's learning. Today she gets to sit with her peers and have lunch with them. She has friends, she goes into a class, she's learning, she plays sports. Her life is completely different. She does go home and do the household chores because one of the things she negotiated with her parents was that she would still help out with all the tasks that had to be done, but she should be allowed to go into the school system. Timmy has now decided that she will only go to her husband's house when she has completed her education. And the magical thing about girls going to school is that every year that Timmy stays in school, she will add 10 to 15% to her future family income. Her children will be 40% more likely to be immunized. She's less likely to be trafficked. She's, in terms of domestic violence, she's less likely to suffer domestic violence if she completes her entire educational cycle. And the most amazing thing is we only have to do this for Timmy, because Timmy, once educated, is not going to leave her daughters uneducated. So she'll be 500 times more likely to educate her children. And that's the amazing impact. And Malika, who's sitting right there, is not alone. She is part of a huge team of Team Balikas. Every gender gap village in Pali district now has a Team Balika. So she feeds off their energy. She's not alone. There are all these women who are rising up to join this particular movement. And Malika doesn't simply enroll Timmy into a school and forget about it. She's actually coming into the classroom to make sure that Timmy is learning. She actually helps and works with parents to make sure that the school has a girls' toilet. Only 40% of the schools in Rajasthan had a separate girls' toilet. So all of these things, whatever is going to keep Timmy in school, she makes sure that she's there. She's in the classroom. She's hand-holding her to make sure she's not just in school, she's retained in school, and she is learning. 1,200 Malikas, 1,200 Team Balika today have brought back over 50,000 Timmys back into the school system. And Educate Girls is an NGO that's 5 years old. So we've been able to reach all of that because other people are joining this movement and other people are coming together to make this happen. So 52,000 girls have been brought back into the school system, and over 200,000 children have seen their learning outcomes go up. And 5,000 of our schools now have more drinking water, toilets, facilities that can actually service our children better. Our board just voted our scaling strategy, and we go from 5,000 to 40,000 schools in the next 5 years. So by 2018, we hope to be able to impact 4.4 million children. Thank you.